What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so as you can see by the title of this video, all right, this is just how to be a better sales rep in 2025. Okay, it's kind of it's pretty self-explanatory, and we're gonna go deeper now. All right, on we're gonna go deeper on just the idea of the way that you think, all right? So, and you notice a lot of my videos, I don't use the word mindset. I use the way that you think or the way that people think, okay? Because the word mindset is kind of a trigger for people. The kind of way that I break down my selling is that I like to blindfold you, and then you wake up and the blindfold's off and you just paid, kind of thing, right? Like my sales process kind of like I blindfold you, I take you throughout the whole process, you have no idea what's kind of going on, and then you wake up and, oh, we're there, and you just gave me your credit card, right? And that's kind of the frame that I like to follow, what I like to buy into. So, and the reality is, it's like I use very softening language, okay? I use very softening language throughout the whole call, and as the call goes on, I get more and more precise with my language. I use softeners. I'm a very straightforward person, and this only depends on how you are as a communicator, okay? But I'm very straightforward, and so what I like to do is I like to use softening language throughout the call, and like the maybes, okay, all right, and I pause on purpose. If you ever heard me say or I pause, it's very, very often it's on purpose, okay? Because I use softening language to soften up what I'm doing, because my language is very precise, but I use the pauses, the ums, the maybes, the hypothetically, the whatever that may be, I use that to soften up my language, okay? So, and it really, really helps. But if you're not a very straightforward guy, if you're a pretty soft guy, then I recommend not using softeners, because it's just going to make you sound dumb, right? So it's like kind of a balance there, but it's probably just going to make you sound dumb. So I don't recommend using softening language unless you're a straightforward guy, okay? But so with that being said, it's and Matt Ryder, one of the sales trainers that I really respect and I think is an awesome dude, is this idea of like, if you are someone who would not call somebody out for skipping in line, or you are not kind of a straightforward, straight shooter kind of guy, that's how you decipher who you are as a communicator, right? And if you have to ask yourself if you're a straightforward guy, you're probably not a straightforward guy. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the reality of it, though. Okay. So with that being said, though, I want to go over kind of a few things of just overall how I like handle prospects, right? So first and foremost, you have to understand there has to be an emotional connection there. People do not buy sad, people do not buy mad, and people love shopping with their friends. Nobody likes getting sold, but they love shopping with their friends, right? So you have to emphasize this level of an emotional connection with your prospects. And so Eli Wild and Tony Robbins break this down so phenomenally. They break it down so well. You have to empathize with your prospects. You have to appreciate them. You have to understand where they're coming from, but you can never validate and buy into their frame or to their story. You cannot change something that you believe to be true. You cannot help a prospect overcome an objection that you believe to be real. Okay, so this doesn't mean that every prospect is a liar per se, but you cannot buy into something. Okay, you cannot help somebody overcome their way of thinking if you believe that way of thinking to be valid, okay? And so you have to understand that you cannot buy into a prospect's frame. You can empathize with them. You can appreciate it. You can respect it. You can say, I understand that. But you can never buy into it. Okay, so if you buy into it, you can never help them change it. Okay, so this is a great segue and like the main topic of this video. Okay, and so I can't go too in depth on this, you guys, but if you want to go the really, really, really in-depth training and you want to really commit to mastery, all right, the link to apply to work with me one-on-one and join the Neuro Edge Inner Circle is in the description of this video. All right, we've helped guys start doing 30K a month commissions kind of thing. All right, and so it's a great way to really go from kind of being whatever as a closer to really taking that next level, that next step. Okay, so that being said, though, all right, and it's for setters and closers, by the way. But with that being said, okay, so it's really understanding it's not about what prospects are saying, but what do they mean by what they're saying? And what is the limiting belief around what they're saying? The frame of mind, you have to understand, you guys, that your thoughts and beliefs are definitions. This is why life and sales are so connected, and sales is spirituality. You have to understand that the definitions that you attach to things, life is inherently meaningless. Life is beautiful, but it's what you get to define it as. God, the universe, I use those synonymously, did not come down and say your girlfriend cheating on you, okay, is a bad or a good thing. You get to choose to attach whatever meaning that you want to that thing. That's the beautiful thing about life, all right? No one said stubbing your toe is a bad thing. You get to choose to attach whatever meaning you want to that experience, okay? And so what you have to understand is that people do not buy due to concerns and limiting beliefs and excuses. And a lot of times it comes down to fear. A lot of it is fear. That's why you have to build a buyer. Oftentimes prospects, they think it'll work. They believe it works, but do they believe it'll work for them? That's the frame. That's what you have to buy into. And oftentimes what happens is if you're able to pick up on your prospect's subliminal and subconscious language, the micro language that they use, all right, because prospects talk to you the way that they talk to themselves. If they give you wishful language, they're giving themselves wishful language, all right, and vice versa. If they're giving you cocky language, they're giving themselves cocky language, all right? So you have to understand how to decipher that and how to actually pick up on that kind of language, okay? So with that being said, you have to understand that it's picking up behind what are the limiting beliefs, almost dropped my pen. What are the limiting beliefs that somebody's giving you? What are the ways of thinking that must be overcame? It's not how do you overcome this, yes, on some level it's logistical issues, sure, but it's not, the frame isn't like, especially on your discovery aspect of your call, it's not how do you overcome this big logistical stuff. It's how do you help prospects overcome their way of thinking. The frame of mind that you should have on your sales calls is not getting this guy to buy from me. It's how do I change his thoughts and beliefs and his definitions around investing in himself, and then as a result, he will buy. Okay, you have to help somebody overcome their limiting beliefs, their negative thoughts around investing themselves and around taking action, and then as a result, they will buy. It's not just how do I get somebody to buy, it's how do I change their thoughts and beliefs around the idea of investing themselves, and then as a result, they will buy. All right, especially B2C, okay? B2B is a little bit different, but B2C, this is very much what it typically is, okay? And you have to understand that it's about going that step deeper in what limiting beliefs, negative thoughts and action, or negative ways of thinking this person have that you must help them overcome and reframe on that call. And that's what happens, okay? The frame of mind is not how do I get somebody to buy? It's how do I get somebody to overcome their limiting beliefs and their thoughts and their beliefs around a situation, and then as a result, they will buy. You have to understand that your thoughts and beliefs, your definitions, okay, create feelings, okay? Feelings create actions, and actions create results. What's the root of all of that? If you want to change someone's actions, you must change how they feel about something. How do you change how they feel about something? Their thoughts and their beliefs. You have to go to the root of it. People never do what they don't believe serves them. People always do what they believe serves them best. Just oftentimes what you believe serves you best is typically not what probably is going to run the most success for you, okay? So what I mean by that is think of it like this, okay? So if things become familiar, they start to feel safe, and if they become safe, they become repeated. So think of it like this. Let's say you had a toxic household, all right, growing up, and your parents always fought, and you got used to that toxicity, all right? Now that becomes familiar. Then it becomes safe, and then it becomes repeated. Okay, so now then you think in your life, oh, that you're so used to toxic relationships. You don't even, if you were to ask somebody, oh, do you want toxic relationships? They'd say, no, I don't want that. But it's all a subconscious thing. They don't even understand it. They don't even get it. It's all a subconscious thing. All right, but you don't do what you believe. You always do what you believe serves you best. Okay, and now what that means is that nobody ever says, let me go mess this up on purpose. And if somebody says, hey, let me go mess this situation up on purpose, even if they do that, they still are used to, and they think that toxicity and that chaos serves them best. Okay, so we have to understand and help people overcome their limiting beliefs. The main emphasis of this video, you guys, is to help you realize that the goal is to not get someone to buy from you. It's what are their negative thoughts and limiting beliefs around investing in themselves. And then once you overcome that, as a result, they will buy. You're missing the key part there. It's not just get someone to buy. It's how do I change someone's beliefs and thoughts around investing in themselves in that moment. Once you do that, as a result, they will buy. How do you change their perception, their definitions of that moment? Okay, that's the frame. That's what you have to buy into. All right, that's what you have to help somebody overcome. All right, and typically speaking, all right, you have to understand that you cannot help somebody overcome a way of thinking that you believe to be valid. You can empathize, you can say it's okay, I understand, but you cannot normalize that and validate that way of thinking, or else you'll never be able to help them overcome that way of thinking. All right, so you have to understand that and really buy into that frame. All right, and so when you're handling objections, for example, whatever they tell you, that's okay. I'm here to help. It's normal. I felt that way before, but it can never be validated. It can never be, you're right. It can never be that. Because if you're there to help somebody, it's leading with service. It's obsessing over helping them. And if you're there to help and serve and do this for them, how are you helping them if you allow them to continue this way of thinking that's led in this very moment? And most of the times they're not very content with where they're at in that very moment, right? So how are you helping them if you allow them to continue that way of thinking that's led them to this very moment, right? So when you're problem solving inside of your own sales calls, it's not about getting somebody to buy. It's getting someone to help someone. What are the limiting beliefs, the subconscious subliminal language that someone's giving you that then helps you pick up on their patterns, and through those patterns, what are they doing, right? What are the limiting beliefs there, right? So every human has a different level of emotional needs. All right, and everyone has a different way to be spoken to. Every prospect is different. And you have to figure that out through the patterns that they give you. Through the patterns that some prospect gives you, you have to make a calculated analytical decision based on the patterns that you see on how to communicate with them effectively. All right, and that's the beautiful thing about communication. It's all about picking up on people's patterns. People are habitual and people operate in patterns. Okay, if they do one thing, they're gonna do another thing that leads to another thing, etc. All right, that's how you can predict what someone's gonna do. Because people and humans operate in patterns. And based upon the patterns that you see, how can you calculate and come up with a precise way to communicate with them effectively based upon the patterns that you see? All right, so to tie this all together, you guys, it's really picking up on what are the limiting beliefs that somebody's giving you. How can you help somebody overcome their limiting beliefs, and as a result, they will buy. All right, and so to remind you guys, I can't go on for this about forever and ever and ever. I got to get to inner circle calls. I got to go have my own sales team to manage, whatever it may be. But if you do, want to work with me one-on-one, the link to do that is in the description of this video. All right, if you are committed to mastery and you actually want to overcome these objections, stop getting, I need to think about it. Stop getting, spouse objections. Stop getting time objections. Whatever it may be, you can do that you can apply to overcome those things. All right, to work with me one-on-one in the description of this video. All right, stay confident, stay grateful, and keep on pushing. All right, be well, keep on pushing. Remember, your personal development and the money that you make are directly related. Your personal development and the income that you make are directly related. All right, if you want to make more money, become a better person. All right, let's take, for example, here, take Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, whoever it may be. All right, if we know that history tends to repeat itself and success leaves clues. If you look back in the past, do they have multiple mentors, multiple coaches helping them go from good to great? Exactly. So, right? So based upon that pattern, those commonalities that we see, is it fair to say now, because history tends to repeat itself, is it fair to say now that we must invest in ourselves to get to that level of elite? Are we here to be average or are we here to be elite? If you're watching this video, it's probably here to be elite, right? And so if you want to be elite, what kind of decisions do elite people make? Uncomfortable decisions, and they invest in themselves and they take action. All right, so it's up to you, my friend. But if you want to work with me one-on-one, link is in the description of this video, and I will talk to you soon. Be well, stay confident. See you.